Welcome in, Bills Mafia. Hold on one second. We got a little technical issue. All right, guys. Hopefully that solved the issue. Yes, it did. I apologize about that. I am your host and founder of the Go Bills podcast, Brett. Glad to be with you on this Sunday wildcard weekend. We are excited to be a part of this. Welcome to the playoff football. This is the best of the best playing at their very best. There's been a couple of surprising games over the past day. The uh, Chargers have defeated, well, the Chargers were defeated by the Jacksonville Jaguars by 1 point. And then the 49ers defeated the Seattle Seahawks yesterday. So two good games. We got three games today, followed by another game tomorrow between the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So exciting football going to be played all day today. I know Scott Hansen of the NFL Network and the Red Zone is excited because he doesn't have to do any of these games. I know it's going to be electric football games, but wish he could be a part of this. But every game is now on national television, so the best of the best are playing at the right time, and you have all of the television rights right now. So everybody needs to strap in and be ready for these games and be ready for the moment, because the moment can be bigger than what you expect, as we saw last night between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The moment got a little too big for the Chargers, in my opinion, and that's what caused them to lose the game. Let's go over the inactives for the Buffalo Bills today, starting with the inactives. Let me take I can't take myself out, but the inactives for the Buffalo Bills are as follows. Isaiah McKenzie with a hamstring injury has been declared out. Jordan Phillips with a shoulder injury is out. The rest of these guys are players that are not injured but are inactive. It's Christian Benford, Ike Bucker, Jared Maiden, Balin Spector, as well as Tommy Sweeney. For the Miami Dolphins, a couple of injuries to report. Tua Tagovailoa is out with a concussion. Raheem Mostert is out with a thumb injury. I'm going to pronounce his name wrong, but it's a really long name. Noah Igbinogogi, I'm going to pronounce it like that because I cannot pronounce that name. It's a really long name, is out. Kendall Lamb is out with an ankle injury. Liam Eichenberg, an offensive lineman, out with a hand injury. Brandon Shell out, as well as Tanner Connor. So a few injuries to report from the offensive line of the Dolphins, and that's going to be an area where Buffalo can have success in this game, is by getting to the quarterback and Skylar Thompson. So I definitely think that Buffalo can get to the quarterback in this game, and they'll have success doing it that way. Another area that Buffalo is going to need to be disciplined in is the gap discipline, especially early on, because I think the only way that the Miami Dolphins are going to win this game is by having the run game work in their favor, which is an area that Buffalo has struggled in this season. They have a really good running back in Jeff Wilson, who is averaging 4.8 yards per carry. He was brought over from the 49ers. Brought to the Miami Dolphins, has familiarity with Mike McDaniel, and he is someone who has amazing speed, just like Naheem Hines on the Buffalo Bills. And anytime he gets the ball in his hands, he can take it to the house. So that's a player that Buffalo is going to need to worry about right away. And if Buffalo is smart, they're going to have to make sure that they're having gap discipline and making sure that they are tackling so that they don't have to worry about one bouncing outside and then it goes to the end zone. Other players for the Miami Dolphins to worry about is Tyreek Hill as well as Jalen Waddle, two electric wide receivers for them, and two guys that you're going to have to worry about on each play. Now, the Miami Dolphins have Tua Tagovailoa out, which is going to hurt them a little bit because Skylar Thompson doesn't throw the ball deep as much as Tua does. Tua was leading the league in balls thrown more than 20 yards compared to Skylar Thompson, who's near the bottom of the league. So I do think that the areas that Buffalo is going to have to worry about, especially in the passing game, is the slant routes as well as the post routes, stuff like that, to different wide receivers. And you're going to have to worry about guys crossing over the middle of the field, and that's going to be an area where Skylar Thompson is going to try and target. But Buffalo does have Tremaine Edmonds in the middle. He is a 6'5", 250-pound linebacker who's done a really good job over the past few weeks in coverage. And I think that that's going to be an area where Buffalo is going to have a strength compared to a weakness in this game. Other areas for Buffalo to worry about, especially with the offense of the Miami Dolphins, is Mike Gesicki. He is a tight end who hasn't had success with Tua Tagovailoa. He's kind of the afterthought when they put him in the offense. But with Skylar Thompson, he is one of the top targets for the Miami Dolphins. And he is someone who, when he is in the red zone, he can get the ball thrown his way. And he's just another asset for the Miami Dolphins. For the Buffalo Bills, they are rolling out a new wide receiver set. They just brought up Cole Beasley to the active roster. He is coming back for his, I believe, 4th season with the Buffalo Bills, as well as John Brown, who was called up from the practice squad to be added to the game. He had a touchdown last week, a 49-yard touchdown from Josh Allen, getting a diving catch and rolling his way into the end zone on an excellent pass from by Josh Allen, where he rolled out to his right, threw that beautiful pass over the top, just had the nice touch on the ball, and John Brown was able to dive for that pass. He is coming back, as well as Eli Nku, a defensive tackle for the Buffalo Bills, who has been on the injury report all season and hasn't been able to play. He is coming back, and he has been activated from the practice squad IR list, and he is now coming back and playing in this game. So another defensive tackle for the Buffalo Bills to utilize on that amazing defensive line group that they have this season. And then you also have guys like Stephon Diggs, as well as Gabe Davis as well, that you can utilize. Now, Buffalo is going to be without Isaiah McKenzie, but I think this will benefit Buffalo especially because they have other guys like you have Cole Beasley and Khalil Shakir that you can utilize in the middle of the field and utilize in the slot game. And I think that that's going to favor Buffalo in this matchup. Now, the Bills are not that injured in this game. They are rolling with almost everybody out there. The only guys that are really injured are guys like Micah Hyde, who has been on the injury report all season. He is out on IR, but they have activated him. Well, they haven't activated him, but they've activated him for practice. So he could come back next week, which is kind of doubtful from what I've heard from Sean McDermott. It doesn't sound like he will be in this game next week, but he could possibly be back for the AFC Championship game between whether that's the Kansas City Chiefs or the Cincinnati Bengals could possibly be in that category. Well, that's to be determined. But we could have Micah back, as well as other guys that are coming back too. For the Bills, key matchups as well as keys to the game. Some keys to the game for the Buffalo Bills are going to be making sure that you're staying in your gaps on defense, as well as for the cornerbacks. This is a game where I think the press man coverage is going to be in your favor. You're going to have to jam guys at the line of scrimmage when you can, in the 5 yards from the line of scrimmage when you're allowed to, as well as you're going to have to be physical in this game and making sure that you're not allowing passes to go deep down the field to guys like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And then in the running game, making sure that you're tackling and making sure that you're staying in your gaps and you're coming home with the tackle in this game. For the offense, it's all about execution as well as making sure that you're taking care of the ball. Last time the Bills played the Miami Dolphins in week 2, they struggled with keeping a hold of the ball, and that was allowed the Miami Dolphins to get back into the game. And it also allowed Miami to utilize the run game, and they took advantage of the time of possession, and that's where Buffalo struggled. So if I'm Buffalo, I'm making sure that I'm keeping on to the ball, making sure I'm having long, sustained drives between the run game as well as the passing game, mixing it up with play actions as well as running the ball, especially against the defensive line. It doesn't have some players being played in this game. The Miami Dolphins are a very banged up team, and I think this is going to be a game where Buffalo can go down the field on almost every single drive, and they should get points, whether that's a touchdown or whether that's a field goal. Other areas for the Bills, you got to get Stephon Diggs involved in this game. It's something that Buffalo has struggled with, especially against the Miami Dolphins. But Stephon Diggs has to be the number one focal point in this game. He's going up against a guy in Xavier Howard who has struggled from the beginning of the season, but is now coming on a little bit more. And he is someone who you saw a couple of years ago where he had an all-pro season. He had 8 interceptions. He led the league in interceptions. And he is someone who every single time he is out there on the field, Josh Allen has to look towards him. And if he is one-on-one with Stephon Diggs, you got to throw that ball to Diggs, because if you have 2 factors that favor Stephon Diggs compared to Xavier Howard. Number one is if he's in one-on-one coverage, more than likely Stephon Diggs is coming up with the ball. Number 2, if he is wide open, he is probably going to come down with the ball. But if he is in contested coverage, I think that favors Stephon Diggs. And he is the only receiver on the roster that I think if it's a 50-50 ball, more than likely he is going to come down with the ball. Now, the third thing is there's an interception. And that is 33% chance that it could happen. But 66% of the time, I think that Stephon Diggs will come down with that ball. And I think that it's more into the 80 to 90% that he will come down with the ball. So if you're looking at this game, you got to go after Stephon Diggs and you got to get the ball to him, because you need to have your playmakers involved in this game no matter what. Now, Gabe Davis has a good matchup against Byron Jones in this game. And I think that this matchup kind of favors Byron Jones a little bit. He is a veteran cornerback who has played for a few teams in the NFL, but I think that the matchup favors him a little bit more. Now, Byron Jones is not the tallest cornerback in the NFL, but Gabe Davis is a 6'2" guy. And I think that this matchup could favor Gabe Davis if there are passes where it's contested passes. But if Buffalo is going to try and rely on Gabe Davis to utilize those post routes as well as comeback routes, I think that that's going to favor Byron Jones a little bit more in this game. Now, guys that could have a really big game in this game, I'm looking forward to seeing guys like Devin Singletary as well as James Cook having a big game against the Miami Dolphins. I think that if Buffalo is smart and they are looking for areas that they can have success in, especially when the passing game is struggling. And the Miami Dolphins do a really good job of blitzing the quarterback. And I think that this area will favor Buffalo is if when they're trying to blitz, if they do blitz, Buffalo decides to run the ball and it'll open up holes and they'll open up different areas and it'll slow down the pass rush of the Miami Dolphins especially. So if I'm Josh Allen and I see that the blitz is coming, check it down to a run play, and then have guys like James Cook and Devin Singletary get a ton of yards after the tackle on this game. Other things, if there is a blitz, also, if I'm Josh Allen, I'm taking off and utilizing my legs. And I think that that's going to be an area where Buffalo is going to have success in this game, is if they are if there is a play where there is blitz, Josh Allen rolls out to his right, he takes off, and he gets downfield. You got guys like Jerome Baker as well as guys like Xavier Howard, who are not the best tacklers in the NFL. And Buffalo could utilize Josh Allen's running game in this game. Let's look at other games around the NFL real quick that are going on today. You have 2 other games that are going on. We'll go over the games from yesterday as well. But today you also have the Giants and the Vikings that are being played at 4:30. And then finally finishing up the day is the Ravens and Bengals at 8:15. And then tomorrow you have a game on ESPN, which will have Joe Buck and Troy Aikman calling the game. The Cowboys and Buccaneers. That's a game that my family is going to be especially tuned into. There are numerous Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans in my family, and they're looking forward to this game. It's going to be a really good game between 2 teams. One that has an older quarterback who is going to set the record of the uh, for having the oldest quarterback in the NFL start a playoff game in Tom Brady versus Dak Prescott, who's kind of on that comeback trail, and Mike McCarthy, who has been struggling in the playoffs, and he can't really get over the hump for uh, beating the Buccaneers. This is going to be a game where I think it could come down to a last-second field goal, or it could come down to a last-second touchdown in this game. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Let's go back to the Buffalo Bills real quick, and we'll talk about a couple of other things that I think are going to be important in this game. And I want to bring up the injuries from the Miami Dolphins. And there is one report that has come out. It was out a few minutes ago that it came out. And there's talk, if something happens to Skylar Thompson, there is talk about who could be the emergency quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. And the plan is, if there is a breaking glass situation where all the quarterbacks go out, because you have Tua out, you also have Teddy Bridgewater who is out, you could possibly roll into a play where you have Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle in this situation. So, but I don't think that that's going to happen, because I think that Skylar Thompson is going to play the whole entire game. They're probably going to rely on the run game more, and that's going to be the recipe for how they're going to try and beat our Buffalo Bills. And I think that that matchup will potentially favor Miami a little bit, because we have struggled in the run game, but I do think that Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds are going to have a big game for the Buffalo Bills. And I think that they're also going to have guys like Ed Oliver step up, and he's going to be an impact in the run game. So if I'm Buffalo, you got to win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball for the offense and the defense. Got to make sure that you're winning the battle in the trenches. That's going to be my number one key to the game for the Buffalo Bills, is winning the battle in the trenches on both sides of the ball. I think that Buffalo has more offensive linemen and defensive linemen on both sides of the ball that they can rotate in if there are plays where we're struggling. And I like the depth from Buffalo on both sides, so they could be utilizing a 6 offensive linemen in the run game, which we have utilized in Bobby Hart, as well as in the defensive line. You can utilize guys like Shaq Lawson, as well as AJ Epinesa, who have done an amazing job in the run game for the Buffalo Bills, being able to stop the run for the opposing teams as well. We are about 10 minutes away from the start of the Buffalo Bills game today, and I want to take a moment to talk about the Chasing M's Foundation, which is a foundation funded by Damar Hamlin. He has started that foundation before he had the injury for the Buffalo Bills. And I want to take a moment to talk about this foundation, because his goal was to only raise $2.5 thousand, and that foundation has raised over $8.5 million. And I want to take a moment to thank all of the Bills fans that have donated to his foundation. The link is still in our bio on our Instagram page. So if you can, go ahead, and whether it's $1 or $5 or maybe even $3 for the number 3 for the Buffalo Bills, if you can donate anything, that would be awesome. But I want to take a moment to thank all of Bills Mafia and everyone around the NFL, as well as fans who aren't even fans in the NFL that have donated to the foundation. It's incredible to see. And I also want to take a moment to talk about another foundation that's going on Nickel City Mafia's page. There is a young boy who has cancer, and his family is raising money for him so that they can fund his cancer treatment, as well as fund their traveling to his cancer facility. And if you can, go ahead and send, whether it's $1 or $5, whatever the case is, to donate to him. It would be awesome. Now, there is talk about what could happen, and I know that Buffalo is going to probably donate a little bit of money. The Buffalo Bills are going to donate some, but anything can help, and that would be awesome. Don't forget to like and subscribe to all our social media platforms. We are on 5 different social media platforms: TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, as well as our website, gobillspodcast.com. You can find all of our upcoming events that are going on all our different platforms, and you will see a ton of us on different websites as well, where you will see us on YouTube with the Go Bills podcast, as well as Nickel City Mafia, Chill Cell Bills, and Red, White, and Bills. So you can find all of our content when we will be going live on all our different platforms on our Instagram, as well as on our website. Don't forget to follow us at halftime of the Bills game. On YouTube, you will find our halftime report. We'll talk about what is going right for the Buffalo Bills, what's going wrong, as well as some halftime adjustments that the Bills could make. As well as we'll preview a couple of the game following the Buffalo Bills game, the Minnesota Vikings and the New York Giants game, as well as talk about the injuries that are going on in the Bills game. Hopefully, praying to God there isn't an injury for the Buffalo Bills in this game. So that'll be going on after the conclusion of the first half, as well as the conclusion of the Bills game between the Miami Dolphins and Buffalo Bills. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms. I already said that, but don't forget to do that. And don't forget to shout out the Nickel City Mafia and the Red, White, and Bills, as well as Chill Cell Bills on YouTube and Instagram. They are doing amazing stuff on all their platforms. So don't forget to follow us over there, because you will see guys like myself and other guys that are very good Bills Mafia members that are going live on their channel as well. We are about 5 minutes away from the kickoff of the Bills game, and we would like to thank all of Bills Mafia for watching this podcast. And we will see you next time for another edition of the Go Bills podcast. As always, go Bills, and let's get a win today against the Miami Dolphins.